Hi, my name is Frances Townsend. My husband James is the owner of 3 breweries, and I have 3 young sons, David, Joseph, and Charles. I have to care for our sons all day. As of now, we have a pretty good quality of life. We have enough money to care for our sons, and I'm making sure that they're getting an education. We aren't really ever lacking on food. We're pretty good as of right now. However, I cannot imagine what would happen to our life if we lost our job. We live in Illinois, and we rely on the sale of alcohol. This is our life, as crazy as that may sound. If all you people out there vote to ban alcohol or are working to restrict the sale of alcohol, we're going to suffer. As the owner of 3 breweries, my husband works all the time. But the sale of alcohol is how he makes our money, and it's how we make our living, and it's how we make our life. Now, we live in a society where alcoholism is widespread, and that's because it's a society that's lacking social hygiene and medical therapy and any kind of welfare work and no recreational facilities. There's idleness and boredom and misfortune, and these things all lead to alcohol abuse. And as terrible as that may sound, that's how we make our living. That's all I know. If people out there vote to ban alcohol or limit the sale of it, I don't know what we would do. We would have no money and no income, and we would probably have to sell our house, and my husband would have to find some other way to work, and maybe I would have to work. Now, there's also people out there that want to ban alcohol because they're part of the church, the Protestant church, or another denomination. But you're telling me that you're banning alcohol for God? I thought that Jesus drank. Did he not? And are you telling me that people aren't responsible with their liquor and that's why they need to ban alcohol? That's why there's temperance movements? Now, you're telling me that we live in a country that is the country of freedom. We live in America. What about these liberty laws that our country has? We need the ability to buy and drink what we want. This is America, the country of freedom. So why are you trying to restrict us? There's so many reasons that people say that alcohol needs to be banned, but any reason that you come up with to ban it is just not a successful one, because in any way that you ban or restrict alcohol, you're really just restricting our freedom. Now, people are also getting mad that there are drunks out there, and that because people are alcoholics, they may become criminals, and criminal activity may result from alcohol. I'm not denying that. I think that is probably true. However, there's lots of people out there that are perfectly capable of having a drink every now and then, that are perfectly capable of being responsible if there's alcohol. What about those people? They don't want this either. There's many people that enjoy the use of alcohol in moderate amounts, so why are you working all these temperance movements? What about the people that are responsible about it? I'm scared. I'm scared for our life. I'm scared for my sons. What am I going to be able to do? I don't know how I'm going to be able to take care of all of them. If alcohol is banned, then my husband and I are really left with nothing. Nothing. I need the world out there to realize that limiting the use of alcohol is a terrible idea. Please don't take away our freedom. There are plenty of people out there that agree with me and that think that limiting the use of alcohol is just restricting our freedoms. The temperance movement is not one that should result in the changing of laws. Alcohol should not be banned, and it should not be restricted, and I truly do not understand the other side of this argument. I just don't understand why some of these women out there are so many women out there just like me who are fighting to ban alcohol or to restrict the sale of it, and they want temperance, and I don't understand. So, the reason I've made this video is to try to understand the other side of this argument. I want to understand what these women think because I certainly don't understand it as of now. I have decided that I'm going to meet with a few women from out of state who are for the restriction or complete ban of alcohol. I'm going to interview them and understand their background and why they got involved in the temperance movement. I want to understand what their family life is like and what their jobs are, and I'm going to put together a compilation of my interviews to share with you. I'm personally trying to understand the other side of this argument because as of now, I don't understand it. My husband, the owner of these 3 breweries, if alcohol's banned, we lose everything. So I don't understand, and I'm going to try to now. Here are 2 of the interviews that I have put together. What's your name?
My name is Elizabeth Kelly.
How old are you?
I am 19 years old.
And where are you from?
I live in New York with my family.
What are your parents' names?
My parents' names are Alice and William.
Do you have any other family members?
Yeah, I have a little brother named Jack.
What do your parents do?
My father, William, is an engineer, and my mother just works at home.
Tell me about your brother.
My brother, Jack, is in the 2nd grade. He's really smart for his age also.
And what's your view on temperance?
I am completely for the temperance movement and an active member of the temperance movement.
Is your whole family against it, or just you?
No, our whole family is against the use of alcoholic beverages.
Why? What got you started in that?
Well, our family is very religious, and the Protestant church that we attend has always taught, against alcoholic beverages. And so I started to listen to my family and realize the harms of consuming alcohol.
Are you involved in clubs, or what has been your involvement in the temperance movement?
When I was 18, I heard news of clubs at my church that taught about the harms of consuming alcohol. So my parents encouraged me to join these clubs and listen to what the women of my church had to say. I jumped at the opportunity though, and I joined clubs at my church and found myself in agreement with what these women had to say. In these clubs, we talked about the movement, and we also talked about how to help the community and how to make our society better.
You're a part of the Women's Christian Temperance Movement?
Yes.
What else have you done in the temperance movement?
Well, once I joined the Women Christians Temperance Union, they also taught me about the destructive use of alcohol and the problems it causes to society and families, which of course I shared these beliefs, and my family was extremely supportive of my choice to join them in their movement. By joining them, I got to learn about constitutional laws, listen to speeches. We also held rallies and did marches as well. During the summer, I actually attended a lot of organizational discussions to determine how we should act against the ravages of alcohol. Our primary objective was protection of the home, so we selected white ribbons to wear that symbolized the purity of the movement. I pledged a complete abstinence from alcohol and other drugs. So did all the other women in the Women's Christian Temperance Union. At my first march, I actually got to meet Frances Willard, who was the president of the WCTU. She's a huge role model of mine, and because of her, our movement became the largest single women's movement in American history.
Okay. Now, do you have a club of your own, or are you just a part of this union?
After I joined the union, I really wanted to start my own club at my church. So because of Frances Willard, I decided to start my own club. I called it Sisters, and in this club, we wish to inform women about the Women's Christian Temperance Union and encourage them to join. and we also talked to them about how they could help the cause to prevent the use of alcohol. In this club, we began approaching local saloons, asking them to close their establishments as well.
Interesting. Are you married or single?
I'm single, but I did fall in love with a boy from my church named David Scoff. The Scoffs were great friends with my family, and I knew I liked him as soon as they joined us for dinner at our home. Both our parents loved the idea of us marrying, so we began seeing each other. He was loved at our church, and everyone had nothing but good to say about him. But after a couple months of seeing each other, we I started to notice that he was acting differently. So all he wanted to do was to hang out with his friends and go out to saloons and bars. So I prayed to God that he wasn't drinking until I heard news around town that he'd gotten into a drunken fight with another man at a saloon. I was in shock that I had fallen in love with a man who caused another man to suffer in such a way. My family wanted me to stop seeing him, and I agreed with their choice and did not object. The Scoffs were extremely disappointed in their son, but David didn't care at all. He continued in a downward spiral and ended up going to jail and becoming an alcoholic.
I assume that this is part of the reason why you're so strongly involved in this temperance movement.
Yes, I was so heartbroken. I kept waiting for him, thinking he would change for me because he loved me more he can love a poison like alcohol. But I ended up wrong. My parents tried to comfort me and tried to make me feel better, and they explained to me that he was only this way because he was under the influence of alcohol. This is what alcohol does to people.
And so as of now, you're single?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me talk to you today. And that's all.
What's your name?
My name is Rose Smith.
Where are you from?
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Did you grow up there?
Yes, that's where I grew up with my 4 siblings.
Okay, and what did your parents do?
My father was a farmer, and my mom taught us kids how to read and write at home.
Okay, and were your parents involved in any temperance movements ever in your childhood?
They were never involved, although they were active members of the church, so they never really approved of excessive drinking.
Okay, and are you completely for the ban of alcohol, or are you for restricting alcohol?
My husband and I, who share similar beliefs, are both for the restriction of alcohol, but we don't think that it should be banned.
Okay, and what made you decide to have these beliefs?
Well, in the summer of 1815, which was 5 years ago, I was walking home from the market when I heard a woman speaking from across the road. I walked over and listened to Mary Easton talking about the temperance movement, which started on the East Coast and was rapidly moving west. That night, after my 3 sons, Albert, Calvin, and Franklin, had gone to bed, my husband, Samuel, and I sat down to talk about temperance. We spoke mostly about the effects of drinking, the effects drinking had on its consumers. For example, just last month, our neighbor James Jefferson got so drunk at the saloon that when he came home, he hit his wife Bernice. She ended up in the hospital with a head injury and 2 broken ribs. I couldn't even imagine what I would do if Samuel had done that to me. Now, saying all that, I do enjoy a drink from time to time, and so does my husband, but some restrictions could benefit the community. No one needs to get so drunk that they start making bad decisions. So much crime does come from men who drink too much, though. Crimes like spousal abuse, vandalism, murder, and even corruption in the city. This past week, the saloon was shut down for 3 days because some vandals took to the bar and destroyed half the furniture after it was closed. And last year, 3 women were killed by one man who was in a drunken stupor. It's a real shame when something like that happens, all because someone had a little too much to drink. A real shame, I tell ya. So after our conversation ended, my husband and I came to the conclusion that there shouldn't be a total ban on all alcohol like many had stated in the East, but there should be some restriction to the amount you can consume in one evening.
Do you think that there should be a restriction to help people be more responsible?
I think that if people are required by law to have restrictions on the amount they can drink. It'll help the community by keeping them from becoming belligerently drunk.
Do you have any thoughts on the fact that this is the country of freedom and the restriction of alcohol is kind of limiting our freedom?
This country is founded on freedom, but some people need these decisions made for them because some people are lacking the responsibility to make the right choices.
Okay, I think that's all we have for today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now you've seen the other side. You've seen what these women think and why they're against alcohol or for the restriction of it. I see that some of these women have gone through pain and that's why they want the restriction of alcohol. And honestly, after interviewing these women, I do understand better, and I hope that you do too. I challenge you to decide which side you're for. Are you for alcohol or against alcohol or for the restriction of it? Are you going to be a part of the temperance movement? It's up to you to decide.